you guys, let's yap. Because you guys very specifically told me in the last video, great analysis, girl. Appreciate you breaking down the societal structure of France, but how did your last 3 dates go exactly? So we're gonna get right into it because please remember, I was not on my meds for these dates. So I was I was slightly more unhinged, but also like a little bit more delirious. Let's start with date number 1. Now, please remember, I generally date white guys from Bumble and black guys from Hinge. It's just for some reason how my algorithm works. I don't know why, I don't know how, but here we are. So first date, we'll call him Moto Guy. Okay? That date went really well. And one thing I will say that very much switched for me as I started to learn more about men in France is like they're not gonna be, in general, they're not gonna be the type to be like, I want to see you Thursday at 7 o'clock. Like generally, like at least from the dating apps that I've experienced, they're not really like that. It's very much like, hey, what are you up to tonight or tomorrow? I'd love to see you. It's a lot more chill, a lot more slow, a lot more vibey. I feel like America is very direct and like, plan the date, do this. France is like, what's the vibe? I'm feeling like going out tonight. I'd love to see you. That sort of thing. So that was this with Moto Guy. Black guy, very handsome. Really enjoyed our time. Basically, I thought we would maybe go somewhere near the house, but we ended up just like walking and finding a little bar, a little brasserie to chat and talk. And we talked for like 2-ish hours or so. And he's like actually a very interesting person. He could go toe to toe with me like intellectually. His English was very, very good. And so that's what that he was one of the people that made me realize like it's honestly like a non-negotiable when it comes to like being able to speak English, not just at like a basic level, but at like a more elevated level, because I have to be able to like talk to you intellectually. So went really well. He's very, y'all, very handsome, very handsome. I liked him. Okay. One thing I will say though is he drives a motorbike and he's coming from like way far out of Paris. And as we talked about before in our last chat, usually when people are driving from way far out, they're usually not in like necessarily the best financial position, because France is so, no, actually, not that they're in a bad financial position at all. It just means they likely can't afford Paris proper. Not knocking that, but the type of guy that I'm looking for, we are very like in tandem. If not, he makes more than me. And that is very hard to find in Paris, friends. Very hard to find in Paris. I mean, the wages are completely different there. So it's like, I know I'm probably not going to find someone who makes the same amount of money as me, but I ideally would love for him to be making 6 figures. That would be the dream, the goal. And honestly, y'all, that is still very, very, very hard to find in Paris if you're not dating like a CEO or something like that. Because like truly, the wages are just different there, because there's a trade-off. They value healthcare, they value time. Like a lot of times it's like a 35-hour work week. Like it's just different there, which I don't mind. I understand those trade-offs. So, I really enjoyed my time with him. We talked about everything under the sun. We walked, we talked. He was very complimentary of me, which I appreciate. I feel like sometimes French guys can be very like, I don't know, I don't want to say withhold compliments, but they're not extremely like direct about things. And I felt like this particular guy was very direct about liking the way that I think, liking the way that I talk, liking my humor, that sort of thing. So I really enjoyed it. We ended up talking again the next day and the day after, and we were going to plan another date. And then, everything with me in the hospital happened, and then I was out of there. So I felt like everything kind of came to like a halt. Like I really, like after that date, I was like, whoa, like this could like be a little something. Like this would be like a date number 2. We were already planning date number 2. So I think that's probably one of the dates that I'm most disappointed about. But another thing that I noticed about French guys is they're like very obsessed with Instagram. They're like, send me your Instagram, send me your Instagram, send me your Instagram. And I'm like, why? What is the point? So I'm developing my Finsta. I'm developing my Finsta because as soon as I sent this guy that I was just telling you about my real Instagram, I decided to run a test since I was back in the US, and I was like, at this point, like, what does it matter? I'm probably not gonna see him again. I sent him my real Instagram. He's not a fan. But who would be? You know what I mean? Like I'm chronicling like my like dating experiences, and he has to like listen to me talk about dating other guys and like, all that kind of stuff. So working on the Finsta, we give Mr. Moto like an 8 out of 10 date just because I do wish it was a little bit more planned. It was very impromptu, like I want to see you tonight. And I would love 24 hours notice. But we like him a lot. He's like the blueprint for what I would be interested in, especially if he lived in Paris proper. Because also think about like having to like date and just wanting to see someone and everything like that, and like they live 45 minutes away and they're on a motorbike the whole time. And so I also think it kind of like pressures the situation to have people like sleep over sooner than you're wanting to, because you don't want them to have to, ride their bike late at night. That's Mr. Moto Guy. Now, this next date, I wouldn't necessarily call, okay, it was dates, but okay. I picked up my first person in a bar, which is kind of crazy. Like I've never done that. I've never really done that before. So basically I was sitting at the bar near my place. And one thing that I continue to repeat to you all is like French people are very subdued. Like you're not just going to have them smiling at you and all that kind of stuff. As soon as you smile at someone, that indicates like to them significant interest. So as an American girl, like if you're dating in Paris, like wield your smile with care, and only if you're interested in that person. So basically I was sitting at the bar talking with the bartender, and then a guy walks in, white guy, longer hair, bearded. I thought he was very cute. I think he's very French looking. And so I ended up, smiling at him. So he walked over. We ended up chatting for maybe about like 35 minutes. I got his number, or like he gave me his number so that I could text him. We texted, and then we ended up going out the next day. And it was nice, but it was it's just a very different experience. This was like my first rendezvous with a white man, and granted, like race is not the same in the United States. It was still very interesting to me to even just like, I just felt different dating, being like at the table, being seen with, talking to like with a white guy. Very intelligent, very smart, like was very just deeply leaned in, and like it was like he was engrossed in me, and I love that. That's that's addictive. I love that he paid so much attention. I will say, after a while I realized I didn't really love the hair. Y'all, the hair is long, like the hair is like to here. Mm-hmm. 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 It was a bit long for me. And so I realized like maybe physically I wasn't as, like, it was intoxicating at first to be like, oh my God, like I'm picking up someone at a bar, like this is so cool. But when I really was like looking at him, I was like, I just don't think like physically, like this is my type of guy. You know what I mean? So great date, but didn't end up um leading to anything. Last date, very last date. And this was the picture that I showed you guys of like me holding hands with the guy. That was like the last photo y'all saw for like days and you were freaking out. This was a guy that I met on Bumble, and we ended up having lunch. Late, very late lunch, like a 5 p.m. lunch. Talked for like 2 hours. You're seeing a trend here. Like the dates last long. You're just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And it's been, I really like that because you get to understand who this person is. But as I'm saying, once I, like, to reiterate, when they don't have the like English speaking ability of like being able to talk to you about politics and music and culture and like those sort of things, like they can talk about it in French, but like I can't talk about it in French with them. So but like the issue is both they don't know English and I don't know French at that level. So with this guy, I feel like it was a solid date, but like the English wasn't really there. I really liked him, very handsome. um I ended up inviting him up to my apartment for a little nightcap. Um, the I'm trying to be as safer. Uh, like that didn't happen. No, no, I no. But I really do enjoy my first. I really did enjoy my first experience romantically, physically, but not that with him. I very much enjoyed that. But I don't see it going like further into like, you know, other avenues of us actually like being together, like even just like a second date. It's like, why? Like he would be my kind of like, I suppose, like late night call. I also hated how much he smoked. Like I know that that's something that I'm gonna have to like get used to, but it was like every single hour. Even less than that, honestly, like every 45 minutes, smoke, 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 opening up my window, smoke, smoke, smoke. And I'm just like, geez. So he's a great, like, you know, if I was living in Paris and I just need a little something late at night, I think he'd be a great candidate. But like, oh, we can do it as bases. We can do it as bases. So definitely not a home run, but we ran a couple bases and I really enjoyed those bases. Yeah. Yeah. So that's that. I hope this is enough information for you guys. I'm trying to keep it, you know. And just to recap everyone else, first guy that I saw, Mr. CEO, like he was like in and out, in and out, in and out. Like there would be some times where he was just like texting me all the time, and then other times he'd go completely MIA and be like, oh my God, my phone broke, blah, 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 blah. I personally think he is getting back together with his child's mother. Like, they were together for 8 years. They have a kid. Like, I know how this goes. Like, he's like, I'm on a work trip, but I'm like, are you on a work trip? Are you though? Or are you in the south of France with your family? So, after a while, like, I was just kind of like, I'm gonna cut this, because he was like texting me like, I want to see you again. And I was like, I don't even want to, because I don't know what this is, and you're just not being clear, and it's so murky, which apparently is a hallmark of French relationships. But I'm just like, I can't do that one. That one, no, thank you. Second is like Mr. Workout Guy, where like, y'all, big fine. Out of everyone that I dated, he was the finest. The finest. But our entire date was in Google Translate. The entire date. And so it just didn't make sense. If I really wanted him to be my like guy, which there were a couple late night texts where at about 10 p.m. I'd get a text and it'd be like, ça va? And I'm like, oh, okay, he wants this to be that. But it never ended up amounting to, I just wasn't really feeling it. I don't know. To me, in order for me to like take it there, I need to like, our minds need to connect. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then there's someone I'm forgetting. Oh, Mr. Matcha. Mr. Matcha had a whole video dedicated to him. We will never speak to him again. But he did text me again and was like, so I guess this is really over. No response. Blocked him. Had to. Because why would you ever think I would ever talk to you again? Like, that to me means you're clinically insane. That to me means you're a very, very wild person. And I'm already an extremely wild person. I need balance. I need someone to balance me. So you being clinically insane doesn't help either of us. I have that covered for the both of us. Okay? Yeah. So I think that's mostly everyone. I think looking forward, what has been so interesting is I went in to change my location back from Paris to Charlotte, and I had 36 matches from people in Paris. So I just decided, like, let me just like scroll through and take a look and see if anybody's interesting. Why are 10 of them like to a T my type? Oh my God. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. So here's what I did as a result of that. I updated my profile and was like, I work between the US and Paris, and I'm in Paris often. If you're okay with that, let's match. And then my note, you know how, I don't know if y'all are on Hinge, but before somebody matches with you, they have to read a note, or they have to accept a note. And my note says, like, I prefer for us to date mostly in English as I work on my French. And so that has also helped me not have to be like Google translating and doing all this extra stuff, because it's filtering out all the men who like really just are not interested in dating in English. And that's totally their right. I don't want y'all to think like I'm judging them. I am in their country asking them to speak their second or third language. So I put that preference in there, and I have still been chatting with maybe like 4 or 5 guys, and they're really cute, and I don't really know what to do about it. And it makes me want to go back to France and just maybe like, meet up. But yeah. So I still haven't updated my Hinge back to the United States. My Bumble updates automatically. So that's done. I have to date like in Charlotte on Bumble, but on Hinge, I'm still in Paris and I'm still dating there. And the matches, I don't know if my algorithm finally like just like clicked and was like, oh, I get what you like, which actually makes sense because I always give it feedback after like we met up and it's like, would you see this person again? And I say like yes or no. And so I think my algorithm is getting like so much smarter about like what I want. The type of men they're serving me now. If you read my Substack today, then you know that I really do think my husband is there. I think he's there. I do. I do. Hate to say it. Don't want to sound ridiculous. Either he's there right now or he's here and he wants to go there or we're going to meet there. I don't know how it's going to happen, but me and my husband are going to be in Paris. And that's where we're going to live and that's where we're going to have kids. Did y'all know that my hospital visit costed nothing? Zero. And my medication that I got afterwards to help with everything was 12 euros, which is about $14, which is less than $14. Like, affordable medical care is possible. And so when I think about like having a baby, when I think about like raising a family, I don't think that that should put you in crippling amounts of debt or that you should be spending such insane amounts of money on insurance. Like when I was out of work for 6 months and I was on Cobra, as they call it, I was spending $1,200 a month on insurance that I never even used. Obviously, because it's insurance, just in case something happens. So I don't really know what I'm doing, but those are my last few dates. I will say, to like wrap it all up, I am very interested in maybe my first home base experience with a white man. They're very thorough. They're very giving. Very giving. And I will say, comparatively, for the other side, at least for that particular person in France, compared to Mr. CEO, not as giving. Not as giving at all. Very great with the aftercare. Very great with like the just like doting on me. But as far as like in it, not as giving. And I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. That's not something I'm a fan of. So I'm very intrigued because I definitely feel like the white guys that I've dated have given very giving, very like engrossed in you and what you have to say, but also like thoroughly knowing your mind and thoroughly knowing your body. I'm really trying to keep this like PG. Very much so. But yeah, I hope this gives you what you were wanting so we can close this chapter. But I will keep you guys posted on stories of, the guys and things like that on Hinge. I don't know if I'm ready to date again in Charlotte. I'm not really sure about that. I think I just need a second. Oh, and I hope this is also just a plug. Please, if you are engaging in any sort of activity with men, go get tested. Because guess who just got their clean bill of health from the Minute Clinic? Me. Be responsible, ladies. Because these men, baby, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They do not care. Sister, they don't care. So if somebody has to care, I guess it's finna be me. So I'm very grateful for a clean bill of health. Because once again, you may have a great connection with people, but people don't be taking care of their bodies. Oh my God. So yeah, that's the vibe. See you later.